have no problem delegating, right? I could, if it's something I don't know or I'm not good at, I'll find somebody that's good at and say, hey, why don't you take this and run with it, right?
We can't know everything.
Right, I can't know everything, you can't know everything, but together maybe we can find somebody that knows the answers or can point us in the right direction to get us moving out.
Good question, Libby. I'm pretty new to the district. I was living in Portage during the 2020 election and then moved out where the Marcellus in early January 21. So I've only voted once in Jones, Michigan.
Yeah.
I was just curious, what kind of campaign has Wahlberg run in the past? Does he run on local
I got
things,
no
or is he
idea.
more of a kind of a coattail kind of guy?
I've never watched his campaign stuff. And 2022 was the first time for this district.
Yeah, oh, that's right, there's been changes.
There's been changes,
A
so.
little bit about that.
So he wasn't even in my radar when I was voting because he was like, I'm not even sure, was it Kalamazoo and Battle Creek? Texas?
No, he was
Kind of on the eastern side.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I don't think,
So I don't know. I was always under Fred Upton's district, right? So
That's right.
I
So
never
have
paid
people in
attention.
Southwestern Michigan ever voted for Wahlberg?
other than
Like
this
in
last,
2020.
in 2022 was.
but here's my thinking, I don't think he had to do a whole lot.
I don't think
Because
it
it's
did
a
either.
red district.
It's a red, it's
I
about a
think- I think
60-40
he did-
district.
He just went around, opened up new offices over here, and got his name in the paper, that he'd opened up an office, in 3 Rivers or Niles or wherever.
Yeah.
And, in many cases, he just made sure that he showed up and then left, he didn't stick around for a lot of things.
Wow.
I think he may be. I'm not a political analyst, but he was in Marcellus recently, which I didn't even know.
Oh,
The Marcellus News coming week, I believe. It's not this week, it's next week. It only comes out on Thursday. But Kay McAdams, who's the editor of that paper, said that there's going to be a lengthy editorial that is a rebuttal to his visit in Marcellus. She said, I think they're fellow Democrats. But what that said to me is, and I read someplace else where he's starting to hit the little places.
Little towns.
So I think he may realize that
You might have.
this is a different campaign.
Yeah, different.
Different
This year,
year.
this campaign is gonna be different this year.
He's gonna have to get known over here. So we have to figure out how to get Libby known over here. So what I wanna know is, what groups can we introduce her to? Where we can take, and she can ask for 5 minutes. Why not Rotary, for example? Listen, she's a candidate for office. She's a candidate for office. We should be able to get a member who says, my guest today is Libbi Urban. She's not campaigning today, but she's here to introduce herself as a candidate for Congress, because she's not known. And so now you will know her. You could get her contact information if you want to find out more about her campaign. We have to be brave. We can't be cowards here. And you know what? All they can say is no.
Right.
But we need to introduce her, church groups, or wherever it's appropriate, wherever we think we have an in.
and I
We
have
can.
a petition with me,
No.
blank one. Okay.
So, I think we have to start thinking, people have to get to
When
know
was
her.
Wahlberg in Marcellus?
I don't know, I just know he was there, and
I listened too.
I haven't had a chance to look
Oh,
into
that's
why he was
interesting, 'cause
there.
I've been sending him some pretty strong emails. I mean, well thought out, worded, and no messing around. And of course, I have to give my name and my address, Marcellus, Michigan,
Yep.
and my phone number and all the other stuff, you know, they have.
Maybe that's why he came to my.
I'm wondering. David's looking for you. I'm wondering if, yeah, maybe he's, now Marcellus is on his radar, I don't know, but, you know, I do wanna take a petition because we have a little community center in Marcellus now, that could camp out there a little bit,
Yeah, yeah.
get some signatures. There's not
So-
very much activity there, but.
What we planned, and I've gotten petitions to 8 of the 10 counties, 2 counties have not replied, I've not made. I've made contact, but they've not replied, that's St. Joe and Branch. I do have a contact in St. Joe County, who's gonna get petitions for me, and get petitions out. I have no other contacts in Branch County.
Yeah.
What we wanna do is go sit outside polling places on primary day, on the 27th. Because what, they're coming to vote, so you know they're already
You
registered.
have to get permission.
You're gonna have to get-
Not, as long as you're outside the,
It depends on.
depends on where you're at.
Oh,
You can't be on county property, so if it's at a county polling place. I called or at least in Berrien County, I called, if you can't be
Barry
on,
does everything differently than.
Berry does, I know Berrien. So if you can't be on county property in Berrien.
The thing is to make sure whoever is in that particular precinct
Yes,
knows that you're there.
so but that was the plan, it was set outside of polling places outside that 100 feet, the distance you're allowed to sit.
Sure that the person who's on duty.
Yeah. Yeah. But places like churches, if they have polling places, churches is not county property, so the county can keep it, but the private property might be able to.
You think you can make that on March 4th?
What time on March 4th?
12 to 2.
Walmart is having a senior fair here.
Oh, yeah, I have a virtual meeting that day with the fruit and vegetable industry. They're doing a 2-day Zoom conference.
Yeah.
Karen wanted me to sign up for that, for the rural caucus stuff, to see what that's about, so, and that starts at 11.
You could come to our we're sponsoring April 27th.
April 27th, yeah, that
Actually,
would
with Russ Forest.
Oh,
It's in the Russ
it's
Forest. Yeah. It's in the port.
yeah, because our hiking club hikes too.
Oh, okay.
Well. Those Ron, raise your hand. I've been to New Zealand and Spain with a group in South California and Black.
Well, then, here's, that was so fortuitous that you got married. Speak up now.
I just did.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
this-
street,
And, I have a hike that.
I didn't know December.
Yeah, I do have a hike,
Bring it
but,
all over to Russ Forest.
yeah, we're hiking in Grand Mirror State Park.
Oh,
Well, but get the word out anyway.
I will.
People that are gonna hike it.
Well, we'll see, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a walk and a
Walking around.
fun run.
The reason I asked the question is Julie discovered here, he's gonna be here for Tim Wahlberg's senior event at the Cass County Medical Facility, so if you were running that kind of campaign where you want to, go ahead, go tay, or make a statement, a public statement to the media,
I'm,
party.
I'm not doing
Oh.
fundraising.
Mhm.
This is gonna be on my position, on my, what I want to run for. He's gonna run for whatever he wants to do. Now, if somebody asks me my position on him, I'll give them an answer, but I'm not gonna start off, attacking him or anything like that. I'm gonna run.
You could also, you could ask me for time though, if he's gonna address the seniors.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do it on a different day.
Yeah, I am.
So that might be something we wanna set up for after he goes, and then I could set up and go in there. and get my spiel after that. That would probably be almost better.
Oh, yeah.
Post-
By far, yeah.
I agree, Libby, the principles and policies are more important than personnel.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And if I can't run on my platform, then why am I running? If I gotta run on you know, making derogatory statements about my opponent, then that's not right, like, that's what have I got to stand on, I gotta be able to run on my platform and stick with it.
Have you been to any of his speeches?
No.
He's very skilled at turning everything around, and so, you know, just checking that, making sure that you've got some ideas how best to get off the river.
Because he's the ordained minister. So
Yeah.
he's supposed to get those kinky skills.
And I do think also there's a difference between, you know, saying bad, nasty things about you. You know, my opponent would
No,
you know. But it is, I think it is important what you're doing,
right,
you know.
Right.
Um. His extreme views need to be put out there for the public to see.
a minimum of 1,000, maximum of 2,000. And I have about, and I know of mine, I've got about 50. No, it's up front, and then, they only gave me a couple of sheets, so that's about 70, and like I said, I sent petitions to eight of the 10 counties to, you know, circulated. Jackson County actually took 40. So, and my goal is, I wanna get across the district, not just all from Berrien and Cass.
Yeah.
This area, I want my name across the district, that's why I sent petitions out to the other counties to get volunteers, you know, to get out there and get my name out there. You know, that's the first step, I gotta get that name recognition out there, so that's why I want them to help me do that, so they know, you know.
What's pretty effective that we've done in the past is purchases out the parking lots.
Yeah.
You have 2 or 3 people who are in your group who all around the building that actually purchase it. Have people coming in from the road, going into grocery stores, coming out. It's not as likely that people are going to volunteer to come see you.
Right.
You gotta kind of like.
Oh, no, believe me, like I said, I was in, in that little, restaurant in Galene for a couple of hours, and in that 2 hours, I walked around that place and it changed over, you know, a few times, and I ended up getting, you know, 2 full sheets signed while I was in it. No, it's called Allen Ray's. It's right across from the old grocery store up by the post office. Up. Yeah, it's a little breakfast lunch place.
Depending on how many can spare, Mary and I are done. She'd like to take 5.
Oh, I've got some, and I got some with me, I gave, Naomi 20 more. I know she had some to begin with, had made some copies, but
Yeah,
I got
I
one
can
with me.
read like, however you want it, but 20 that I have, you know.
We have a meeting this week, we can get some more.
Great, yeah, no, I've got.
So the requirement is how many,
A minimum of 1,000, a maximum of 2,000.
and what percentage all of those that you run, how many over that, because some of them get. They're not accepted.
You can only turn in a maximum of 2,000 over things.
So those all have to be correct.
Well, so my guess is if you turn in 2,000 and they start throwing some out, you'll have enough to be above 1,000. I don't think you can turn in more than 2,000. That I know. It's a, you know, you ever read those petitions? They're not that clear. I mean, we got into discussions on it, but, you know, well, it's like, my address is Buchanan, but I vote in Bertrand Township, so do I put Buchanan, do I put Bertrand Township? You know, and then you look and it says, well, it's either or. it's city or township, so I guess you're okay if you might, if I put my address as Buchanan. Or if I put Bertrand Township in there, or if people that sign put the city, you know, it's really confusing and it's not very clear. Because we had a like, oh my God, did we fill this out right moment, because I had made 300 copies with the header filled out. And I put the town in there, Buchanan, and not the township, and it's like, oh, is this right, you know, and we had kind of a freak out moment, but we went back and looked and said it's either or, so we're good, so yeah, it's.
Good question, Libby, on the maximum thing, and then the thing you were just bringing up a while ago about having signatures rejected on technicality. To save the runaround.
Sue M.
If there's rejection,
Sue and Ann,
can you submit
and
2,500?
Sue,
That's what I don't know if you can or not.
oh, Sue and Ann,
Have more-
Be my guest.
Well, it's a minimum of
Sue Ann, can you hear us?
1,000,
Either one?
2,000.
You're
So-
muted.
Literally,
Remember how many signatures,
Yeah.
Bart?
so they don't let you
I
submit
don't
more.
remember.
on the chance.
Yeah, I don't
That
think
was
so.
around 17.
Yeah, that's a lot, yeah, it's not a lot.
Well, you wouldn't know how.
Well, and there's, you know, they can reject just one on a page, or they can reject a whole page, you know, and that's 10 if they reject.
Based on what?
Yeah, then what kind of time do you?
Basically, if they reject the whole
That's to
page,
her.
it's
She's
something
speaking.
wrong in the header,
That's
or
what
the
she's done, maybe.
signature of the collector.
next to you.
The only other thing that reject the whole page, and I had one person do this, is he put his birthday in the date instead of the day he signed.
Right.
And that will reject the entire page, because you only have 180 days to fill them out.
Mhm.
And so you put a birthday in there, well, that's beyond that 180 days.
So is that 180 days an absolute deadline then?
It's 180 days, yeah, from when you start collecting, you have to have them in. Now, the deadline is April 23rd, so so if you go back 180 days, that's way back into October last year, you could start collecting.
So my wonderment here then is, would it be wise to try to plan to have these signatures collected a few weeks before that?
Yes, I plan to get them in, I want to try to get them in by the 1st of April.
Right.
That
Because
way,
You do have to go back.
If I had to go back and get more, I'd still have 2-3 weeks to get some more. Yeah.
How quickly do they look through them?
Because last day to file is the 23rd, and they said, I think the 27th, they scan them in electronically, and then they pick one name off of each to audit it.
Oh. So it's very random.
It's very random. And then they'll audit that, and then if they find something goofy with the one they audit, then they'll look at the whole sheet and then go to the next,
So
so.
you're already planning to have these signatures.
I can hear you.
Okay, thanks.
That's why.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't get unmuted for some reason.
It's okay, and Ann can hear us, then I'm guessing Ann can hear us too, good.
I would assume so.
We just have to be careful when we sit them.
So we have about 2 months left again, which I think should be enough time.
I'm gonna interrupt, I may, because it's time to start the meeting. You are all welcome to stay, we hope you will. But we honor the time that you might have, if you need to be. But,
There's a pin on that desk back there.
There was one that was with it.
and
You did?
I did.
Oh, it was just wrong.
That's it, that looks like it.
You gotta
There
have.
you go. How you get away with it?
all right, well, I want to thank everybody for being here, and we're going to make a couple.
And then. So if they want to record, I believe that record. Computer, I'm recording, somehow it evaporated in the cloud, so out of a. You know, full caution, I'm gonna record it to the cloud, I'm. Inviting, our guests to record it as well, and between. Three of us, will get a good.
Channel, so people that are not here can go on and watch it, so we'll let you know when that happens. All right, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. And we will start with our land acknowledgement, which Diane is going to read for us.
Cass County occupies the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the Potawatomi Indians. The Cass County Democratic Party recognizes the Anishinaabe of the Three Fires Confederacy, the Ottawa, Ojibwa, Chippewa, and the Potawatomi, historic indigenous communities in Michigan, and those who were forcibly removed from their homelands. We further recognize the ongoing relationship of dependence upon and respect for all living beings of earth, sky, and water. In offering this land acknowledgement, we affirm indigenous sovereignty, history, and experiences.
Thank you. And I did include this in the newsletter that went out. I came across from county employee who works for a conservation district, I think. This wonderful video about you have shoreline property, you live on a lake. What you can do to help keep the fish healthy in the lake. And so it was a really interesting, I just enjoyed it. It was really well done. And I mentioned it because, you know, our land acknowledgement is meaningless unless we also take action to care for our land. And there are many ways that we can do that, but this video kind of gave some really concrete things that people that live on the water can actually do. All right, we have a flag, Jim?
Up in the
Oh,
front
we have a
window.
flag here.
Front window. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I did put some agendas, in the 2 years. Okay, there's some agendas here. I didn't make a lot, but it's share. Yeah, so I would have to. So,
So moved.
all
Beautiful.
right. It has been, moved that we adopt the agenda. Is there a second? All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the agenda is adopted. We also need to approve the minutes of the January 19 meeting. I did distribute those minutes in the newsletter, so we got at least some of you actually read them. So were there any corrections in the minutes? Did anybody know?
I move adoption of the minutes.
Second, and
So there's a first and a second to approve the minutes from January 19th as presented in February newsletter. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. So the first item tonight is we have a guest speaker here. Some of us have already been enjoying talking with her, but we're going to give her a chance to kind of make a little formal introduction about why she's running. I've been teasing her because one of the first things that she was tasked with doing by some of the people that are supporting her was to come up with her elevator speech. I think you all know what elevator speech is.
That's what I got for you.
Yeah, so we get to hear her elevator speech. Consider us a test run. But Libbi, welcome.
Thank you.
And what please did you hear?
Thanks for inviting me on. So I'm Libbi Urban, a recently retired maintenance electrician and a United States worker. And I worked at INCO in Carlisle, Indiana for 30 years. I've lived in Michigan for 28 years. And now I'm applying for a new job to be a representative in Michigan Congressional District 5. As a former vice president of my union and a member of our negotiating committee, I have the negotiation skills to work across the aisle and help bring about changes and protections our district and the country needs. Our nation is on the precipice of losing its democratic freedoms. My opponent and the Republican Party no longer believe in democracy. The Republicans want to cancel more than half of the population in our country. They're trying to take away families' rights to make their own reproductive and healthcare decisions, not just women, families. Seniors' rights by declaring Social Security and Medicare are entitlements. Voting rights and free and fair elections that predominantly affect minorities, the young, and the poor. A host of other issues like fair and equitable tax system, immigration system, and protections for our food, water, and air. We need an advocate in our district that will take bold steps to bring about changes that help all of the citizens in our district and this country. My 30+ years of work experience and union activism puts me in the unique position to be your representative. I'm Libbi Urban, and I'm asking for your vote, and I'm ready to start my new job as your representative of Congressional District 5. Thank you.
All right, well,
So I
thank
know I've talked quite a bit, and people have any other questions, anybody's? I do have a little bit of a biography. I did get a website. We're still working on it, but it is out there. It's electlibbyurban.org.
LibbiUrban.org.
Yeah, and my name is Libbi. So when you put it in, you have to make sure you spell it right. It's not Y, it's I. So electlibbyurban.org. And it's got my, little bit of my biography on, or my elevator. Did you put my bio on it or the
Your
elevator?
bio, your elevator speech, and the all-important link to Act Blue. Thank you. And if you're on Act Blue, and most of us are, Libbi Urban, elect Libbi Urban, and there you go.
If you type in at the top for the search, just put my first name, Libbi Urban, it'll be the first one to pop up.
Yeah,
When you spell it with Libbi, it's the first one to pop up. There are like 2 or 3 Libbys, but they spell their name different, so. Just make sure you get the right one, and then the campaign will be elect Libbi Urban. Everything is gonna be elect Libbi Urban, so that's good.
So if we write you a check, it's.
Elect Libbi
Elect Libbi
Urban.
yeah.
Yes,
Jim is gonna be your treasurer, I believe.
Yep,
yes, Jim.
we're
If you have
live with,
questions about how to make a contribution, how to write a check, or anything like that, we can ask Jim and he'll give us the scoop.
We definitely prefer either the act or a check,
yeah,
because there's a
well,
lot of limitations in our patch. Be very careful with that.
Right.
yeah, and both are working, by the way.
Yes,
Do you have to have certain info if we write a check?
If you write a check, name, address,
Phone
phone number, and employer, and if you're retired, a lot
I
of
think
us
it's
are,
retired.
yeah, just retired is fine, or none, if you're unemployed, or, if you don't work, that's fine too, but if you are employed, federal and state election rules say that we have to
And we leave one here or mail?
leave one here, it's fine, we'll collect them, before the end of the night.
I felt it was very applicable. I felt it would translate well into the
Right.
environment in the floor of Congress.
Yeah, that was my thinking also, because I had to negotiate with management every day, right? So I'm just gonna be negotiating with different people, and you're even gonna negotiate with people in your own party, right? I had to negotiate with my own union first, to get stuff.
Right.
So that, that's, you've gotta be able to reach across the aisle to start a conversation, and that's hopefully what I'll be able to do when I get there, is to do that. Plus, if we can get the majority and keep the House back, we'll be able to do a lot of the things, we've been trying to get done the last 10 years.
Very real.
I think if the New York special election shows anything, that was a Republican district, pretty red district, and they flipped it. So, we're gonna try to do the same thing in this district. We got, but I'm gonna need a lot of support. I'm gonna need a lot of feet on the ground, getting my name and my face out there to the people in the district. And it's rural, very, very rural, we're gonna be probably going 2-3 miles between houses, but we've gotta do it. We've gotta get out there and do it and knock doors and let people know that there's somebody that's running, that's gonna advocate for them, and try to help make them run. That's my goal. I mean, I was given a chance, right? I grew up on a farm.
Yep.
Till I was about 8 years old when my family moved, but, I can remember going with my grandfather out to the barns and helping feed the pigs and milking the cows and running around and getting in trouble for getting in the hayloft when we were supposed to be in there.
We're not that rural. Well, there's only certain areas that are rural.
But, it's.
It's a plenty of world. So that brings up, we have had this conversation. It's been wonderful getting to know Libby. About immigration and sort of the mixed message. If Wahlberg claims to represent farmers, why aren't you pro-immigration? Because this
Right.
area runs
Runs
on immigrant labor.
They do.
If you close the border, and this is like the dirty little secret with Republicans, you close the border, the farmers are going out of business here. Because I don't know about you, but my kids and grandkids are not gonna go out there and plant onions,
Nope,
amen? And they're not gonna go out there and harvest watermelons, they're not gonna pick peaches,
nope,
they're not.
not.
They're not, they're gonna go to college, they're gonna get an apprenticeship and become skilled tradespeople and things like that, sorry. Or the farmers are gonna have to pay them.
Right.
Now, if the farmers wanna come up with $20 an hour, my
Well,
grandkids will plant onions,
The thing Michigan did right was make it so they can now get at least driver's license.
yeah.
Pass.
That's
Because
happening.
before, did it pass or not? I know they were working on it.
They're working
Yeah,
on
they're-
it. Don't think-
Trying so they can get temporary driver's
Right.
license, so they could go from place to place to place and not have to have, like a school bus transport them everywhere, they can transport themselves. That was a huge barrier to overcome, because who's gonna drive this group of people around from farm to farm to farm, to get them there, and.
Cash transit.
I would.
Well, that's
Yeah,
one thing.
who's gonna pay for it?
That's one thing the state was
So,
working
you know,
on, that
we're-
they could never
right.
get passed for, 40 years because of the Republicans, once they started talking about that. Now, I don't know if they actually got
I'm not
passed
sure
or
it's
not,
passed yet, and I think
but I
that
know they were working on it.
they have been working on it, and one thing that I think we need to write in, to our representatives in the state, let them know that we support them.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, where I live just south of all of those vineyards and the fruit, the fruit belt over there in Barron County. And so, they need those immigrant workers over there when fruit season comes around to. Yeah. No, I think we need a clear path for people to come into this, especially migrants that wanna work. Like this, do this farm work. They're here, they travel around the whole US. Not only do they, spend their money here, but then they send it back home to their people, or they're trying to get their people to come up here, to make their lives better too. And I think we need a clear path for those people to be able to do that.
One interesting little sideline, just, I hope I'm not interrupting, but I learned, probably 20 years ago when I was living in Montana, that Canada has an interesting program. they have guest worker programs where you go to Canada. You can get in for 6 months. They provide housing, so they know where all the guest workers are. Assuming that they behave themselves, they don't commit any crimes,
Right,
they can work, they have a place to live, they earn money, they send it back to where they came from. And then they go back home for a short period of time, and then they can come back. And I've often wondered why in the world, I mean, our agricultural economy is, who knows how many tens of times larger than Canada.
And more dependent.
And,
Right.
and yet, you know, it would make so much sense. So there's a
I believe I have heard, you know, through just reading different headlines and stuff, that they have been trying to work on something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe a year, give them a year, you know, let them be here for a year, so they can work for a year and then go home a little bit and come back.
And the penalties for screwing up are pretty severe. So there's a lot of motivation to obey the rules,
Right,
to stay, you know, where you are and not, you know, not
right.
wander off.
Wander off.
And so people are motivated and they're given an opportunity. It's a win-win for everybody.
Right,
When I heard about that, I thought, well, why aren't we doing that in America? It makes so much sense.
You know, we really do, but it's encampments.
Encampment.
And,
Yeah.
when we first started giving food stamps to migrant workers, I was serving very encampment. I mean, we had no idea. I can't tell you how many people I went out, called into the office, and called them Jesus. You know, just the way it goes when you look at it. And then pretty soon you get to know it's Jesus. But it was a wonderful experience, and it's one of those kind of things where there's some significant stuff. You don't talk to kids who can speak English while their parents are sitting there, but it tends, government people and other people who are around tend to talk to the kids who can talk, but you've got to include the parents. You can't make parents feel.
right, left out either.
So some of those activities of trying to work with rural people,
Yeah.
just make them feel
Feel
good,
included,
and that they're
feel that you recognize them, you know what I mean?
So, if you don't wanna keep Libby too long,
Oh, I'm more than welcome to stay. I don't have,
you're welcome to stay for the whole meeting.
I'll stay for the meeting.
Are there,
I've not-
are there any other burning questions from either our Zoom folks or people that are here? Yes.
Yeah, so I don't have any questions, but earlier you said you couldn't get a hold of chairs and branch.
And St. Joe.
Okay, so they both just pick new chairs.
I did get the new I think I got the new information. on
Okay,
Who they were. Let me talk to you after,
sure.
and we'll make sure I got the right information.
Yeah, and lastly, so since everything was split essentially, there are a few organizers in the 5th district, myself and another one. I've already talked to a few chairs about hopping on a Zoom call to figure out what we're gonna do. In the 5th congressional, district in general, so Berrien County, they will cast pretty much all of my counties, and then I'll have to check in with Corey, West Calvin.
We have a candidate Zoom meeting.
Okay, yeah.
Pat,
Pat.
yeah.
Yeah,
Get a hold of Pat and maybe we can just do it all tomorrow night.
yeah, that'll be a good idea so that we can figure out better metrics, I guess, as far as the signatures and things go, because some counties work fast, because I
Yeah.
remember when Bart had like 0 petitions, and we got like, I want to say like 1,900 or something like that in like a few days.
Yeah.
And you could see, okay, well, this county did this county that,
Right,
and I think we maybe should revisit some of those ideas, but that's all.
sure. Sure.
One of the things that I always like to make clear is that this is, to call it a rural district is incorrect. It's a little bit of everything.
Everything.
And that's one of the interesting things about it, so that you've got farms here, but then you've got big factories that work with the stuff that the farmers are
Right,
passing on
right.
down, and you've got the sales, and you've got the.
I mean, but when you look at it as a whole district, right, we have smaller communities that, I mean, they've cut all of the big cities out.
Well,
other than Jackson and Coldwater. I mean, we do have some larger towns, but we don't have like a Kalamazoo and a Battle Creek and Grand Rapids type of.
that agrees now.
Well, but you know
But
what
no,
I'm
I
saying?
hear what you're saying, but I think there's always a sense that concerns me, and that is a sense that it's a rural area, and it's not. Rural, it's a combination of a lot of different.
Yes, there, you know, there's a lot of little areas of manufacturing, you know, like industrial areas,
And
like
more and more.
more and more of that. I know they're getting that more in Berrien County, like over there
Yes,
by the
Alex.
bypass and 12, they've got that whole, you know, industrial area going up. There's even an industrial park over by Galeen, right? So, yeah, it's getting to be more and more, that's for sure. But it's still a lot of rural areas. I mean, I ride my bicycle around all the wineries up there, and it's, you know, just row after row of vineyards and orchards and farm fields, so. But I get it.
I'll just to ask, so, now I've lived in New York and all these other places, so I'm trying to figure out what this rule mean ideology or location,
Kind of both.
because when I knock doors,
It's kind of both.
say, well, transportation is an issue here,
The transportation
broadband
is,
is an issue
yeah,
here. You know, some of the rural issues compared to those other cities. So, I mean, I guess that could be some great talking points
mhm.
on the doors. I think someone said something about transportation, and the meeting that I was in with the state rep and a few mayors and some lobbyists. So what they found out is that if you have like certain transportation systems like the dial-a-ride, if you create a route, they'll give you a free bus. And what some folks are trying to do is link it downtown to downtown or beach to beach. And realistically, they like all these kind of counties,
To
Cass
be,
County, Greenwich County
right.
to be in. So, but again, another thing we can kind of talk about down the line, but that's already something that started that could be beneficial for people in rural areas. Because,
Right.
do you have Walmart or where do you get your fruits and vegetables? We can actually create the routes and they will give you the buses, so.
Yeah.
And the employee salary to go with it.
Gary's ears are
I like
perking up
the
over
salad.
here.
Right.
Well, you know,
Whatever, programs you know,
yeah, I
pass
mean,
them on.
we're really behind in that town to town, you know, public transit. I mean, I've been to Spain and you could get on a bus in this little bitty town and it'd take you 10 miles over to the next town for like a euro, you know, or less than a euro, and drop you off right outside, and then you can get on the bus. And even in Mexico, I mean, we vacation in Mexico, you get on a bus in Puerto Vallarta, and
Right.
40 minutes later, you're in a little fishing village, you know, down the coast.
Yep.
I can't do that here. You
Not
know,
yet.
and,
Much better than where it's from.
yeah, but I can't go catch a bus in Buchanan and take it to Niles.
Local governments could get along working.
Right, so that's where something like that could be very beneficial, you know, and stuff like that. Even if they had a route that went down 12, I could go down into my road at US 12 and there's a little stop, you know. And that's how it was in Spain, right? You'd go down the highway and here'd be a stop in the middle of nowhere, and next thing you know, there's a bus coming by. Then you hop on the bus and go into town. You might have to take a mile to get to the bus stop, but that's better than going 5 miles to get into town. That kind of thing. So, that's,
Yeah, we need to think differently.
yeah,
here.
we do need.
Yeah, well, we have, on the ballot on February 27th, right? Transit.
Oh,
Yes,
for here does, yeah.
millage.
I used yesterday, I went and did the early vote at the county city in Niles. Yeah, and we had a millage proposal in there for Buchanan School for my district.
Yeah, so anyway, we're trying to get our Cass County Transit funded.
But that's kind of, has anybody used their early vote? It's kind of nice because you walk in there and then they print the ballot right there when you need it, and
Yeah.
That's how we're doing it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty nice. Yeah, it worked out really, and I was the only one in there. There was nobody in there when I went in, and but they're like, this is great practice, we need to know, we need to figure out, because, you know, I'm like, well, I don't know what my district is, what's my precinct, and had to pull my voter registration card out, and all, oh, I guess I'm here, and precinct. But they, you know, they go, it's good practice for us to figure this out, because they're gonna have to do it 3 more times this year, I guess, right, in May and
Right.
August and November, so.
Yes.
But I wanted to check
Ever
it out.
voting in May,
You don't know if they had to have.
I'm
a
not
vote.
sure.
If they have school millages, if they have other millages out there,
They'll have the early voting.
yeah.
So anyway, all right, I'm going to,
Thank you.
thank Libby
Thank you.
and work for taking on this huge task. And we're going to do our very best to, first of all, get petitions, and secondly, to get voters. One of the things we're working really hard on is getting out the vote. So, thank you so much. You're welcome for being here. All right, we'll move on to the treasurer's report.
Well, Jim, hopefully you have it up there.
I will.
Basically, is that, you know, we just
Oh.
keep getting the normal contributions. We did have the amounts look a little different this time because we had gotten a lot of money, for the, previous district, the congressional district that was broken up. And then we had to distribute that money. So all of that money went in, which made it look like we made a lot of money and then it all went out. So it looks like we didn't make a lot of money. Yeah. So it was never our money in the first place. It just looked like it was, and then it was gone again. And the other thing that I would say is, for those of you who pay more on instead of through Act Blue or a regular contribution, I have set up the invoice reminders for dues. So you might start seeing those, and if you have any feedback for if I screwed something up or it doesn't look right or if it looks great, please let me know. So you'll start getting those, and then they'll be automatically every year. So that's that, and I can't see that far. Do you want to read what?
I can. This is the balance sheet for the Cass County Democratic Party. And I actually printed one out on my home computer too before I
And
came
this
in.
is the end of January. So
Or
it's not
as
up
of
to date.
January 31st.
Yep.
Cash in the bank, checking is $3,967.01. Savings, because the credit union, and they keep $5 in the savings account and everything else goes into checking. So total in the bank is $3,972. That's our assets. And then, profit between January 1st and January 31st, we actually lost, or we spent more over, expenses over income, I should say, was $670.93. So at the beginning of the month, we had, where we at the beginning of the month, we had $4,642.94. We spent over income $670.93, leaving again the balance to account for right now $3,972.01. The balance sheet just recapitulates that. Total assets right now is $3,972. No liabilities. We don't owe any money. Kind of a cash accrual system, so we don't have any debts or liabilities or things like that.
So, well, thank you, Jim. So Glenn and I talked about this, and we're just going to try to be consistent. And every month, this is January, and next month you'll get all of February. So even though our meeting comes in the middle of the month, we're just going to do month by month. You know, and the balance changes depending on what time of the month we check in on. We did have some extra expenditures this month with the ice festival. We paid some dues, Chamber of Commerce dues and other things. So, and we bought postage. A lot of people donated postage, but we bought postage, postcards, and extra things like that. So these are the kinds of extra expenses about how long they're long. So,
Move to accept.
And I would just add,
Okay,
I
go.
would just add that I am collecting an in-kind contribution, forms that you all, I know the Antras are doing it their one way, but anybody else who contributes, just fill out the form, it's online, or you can pick them up here, just so we can keep track of, what are people contributing? We have a better idea of really all the money that's coming in, even if it doesn't come in as money.
right,
So now you can,
yeah,
Well, yeah,
so, all right.
move to
So
accept,
anyway, those comments will take Jim's motion.
move to accept the treasurer's report.
Give a second. Are there any further questions?
Yeah, well, a little discussion, if I may. Because this came in February, it doesn't show it, but we have money in already for our fund run. And I want to report, I had my first two, entries online, so I got the email, so it works. Whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. We now have a JPEG, so you can share that online. I'm gonna put it on my Facebook page, cut and paste it, copy it, or come to my, I'll share it off of my page. But get that word out there. I understand we're in a couple of running books and publications, so, and we have, 3 sponsors, myself, Naomi, and the AFL-CIO is sponsoring, so you'll see their names on the back of the t-shirts, our names on the back of the t-shirts.
All right, well, guys know that. So, is there any other questions or comments about our finances? All right, then all ready for accepting the treasurer's report, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, wonderful. So, I did want to also recognize, let's see, we have one other guest. Some of you, I think most of you know Jay, and, but some of you may not. Jay is our Project 83 coordinator from the Michigan Department of Michigan. Democratic Party. So there are 83 counties in Michigan, and, the plan that the MDB has to cover all counties and make sure that they are all supported is called Project 83. So Jay is responsible for more than just Cass County, but he has this, I don't know how many Project 83 coordinators there are.
It's 9.
9, yeah, so those 9 people have to cover all 83 counties. But I think you did you bring signs tonight?
Yeah, so I did bring some, Joe Biden signs. Traditionally, we have the one campaign that's been here in October, but I'm not sure exactly what's going on. So, Biden's team has talked to the Michigan Democratic Party, and they'd like us, the organizers, to kind of get things started on their end, which helps better because I'm not cut the list and make the list and all that. And then I can kind of tie that into if we have something down ballot, I can kind of use certain metrics to push a county commission candidate or whatnot. So, but there will be literature and things that comes about, there will be canvases and phone banking. And I'd like to get the data updated in Cass County. I'd like to cut some lists, go door to door, and just see, well, does this person still live here, or is this someone else? Or, just get an idea of where they are on voting this year. But yeah, I'd like to just improve the data a little bit, and I'm willing to just help out, of course, presidential.
Well, we have sending out postcards, and unfortunately return for that address. That doesn't mean that more won't come, but typically we get them right away. But I know postcards were mailed out at different times too, so maybe we'll get more. But Ann Webb has, if we can get everything straightened out so she can get on the van, is going to take data that we have from phone calls. So if we get that phone number, if we get that in the postcards, if we get that addresses, she can correct that in the van. But we could sure use somebody else that would be willing to help with that. So that we can make sure that we get the band as up to date as possible with the information that we have from, you know, sending out postcards and calling people, which we've been doing. So, I'll probably put out another call for a volunteer to help get data into the van once, we've made phone calls and that kind of thing. So, we can also do some training for those of us that are willing to learn how to use the minivan, which is an app on your phone. And so if you've been making phone calls, you can enter that information yourself into the van. So, we may move in that direction, but for some of us that have been kind of steep hill to climb, so we've been resorting to having one person get our data. The van is, what is, van stands for what?
Voter activation.
Voter Activation Network. We get data from the Secretary of State's office and a variety of other sources dumped into this database, the van. And then we can, as counties, look, we can go in and get that list of strong Dems, lean Dems, Republicans, independents, whatever, for, you know, our county, but we can also get it, the Dems, we can get it from any county in the state. Congressional District, we can cut it by Congressional District, County Commissioner District. So for those of you that are not familiar with the ban, that's what we're talking about. We tend to use acronyms a lot. And I did also, does everybody know Della and Gary Bundle? Maybe not, there, I think, maybe you are with the season, so, why don't you just put yourself, think we should, I know, so people know. Based on the Cass County Transit, right?
Gary Bundle, I'm the executive director of Cass County Transportation Authority, which operates the Whitehead Valley Ride and Cass County Public Transportation. I'd like to take this time before I hand it off to Della to deep and thank all of you for your efforts on behalf. It's seeing the results. I had the city manager show me, oh, I got this postcard. I said, oh, yeah, great. One thing though, there was something that I know that says that the Whitehead property tax will go down. It's not determined when or how that will happen. So we want to be careful with that message, but just want to thank you. I'm very positive about this and also Jim, the write-up for the village council meeting, encouraging people to vote on the issue. I saw that and much appreciated. Libby, this is a group of people that are about action, they're not about talk. And so you can have the confidence.
Great.
There's a couple of examples of
Yeah.
great support.
Right.
So thank you much.
I'm Della Bundle, and Julie Dye has been asking them to come, and it takes like asking somebody to come to your church. It takes many times. But I gotta say, that people helped out because I have, so thank you. I'm also, one of the trustees at Jefferson Township has done that, and I'll do them again. So-
Oh, good.
Wonderful.
And I forgot that we're also 75% of the board of sitting right here, 75% of the board of the Social Justice Alliance of
Yes.
Cass County.
I was gonna make sure you mentioned that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot. I apologize.
No. Yeah, well, I didn't cut you off.
No, thank you.
Well, we're glad you're here, and the bundles and Julie have been very active in the Social Justice Alliance of Cass County. And they really have been doing great work in the county. So we really appreciate what that has done. So, all right. I just want to make sure maybe we did recognize that visitors. So, I do have a couple things I wanted to say as part of my chair's report tonight. First of all, I want to thank everybody who has already volunteered in some way in the last, 2 months, because you've all really stepped up to the plate. I really appreciate it. We have a long ways to go, but we started out with a really positive effort. Luann put me in touch with I don't know, it's not a political analyst, exactly.
Democratic strategist.
The Democratic strategist named Simon Rosenberg. And he writes, I guess, I don't know if it's a news, it's kind of like a podcast, but, yeah, or a blog or whatever, but it's called, this is a great name, The Hopium Chronicles. And, yeah, The Hopium Chronicles. But his mantra is worry less, do more. And I really like that. And he talks about all the reasons that Democrats have to be hopeful that we are going to do really well in this next election. But because we have to do the work to make that happen. But there's a lot of positive things happening across the country in terms of people winning elections. And so, that's kind of, you're gonna hear that from me a lot, worry less and do more. And I really like that, and I think I read this a little bit earlier, but one of the examples of do more is, he talks about the Tom Swozy, is that his first name? What's Swozy, the guy that won in New York?
Yeah.
I think,
Swozy, yeah.
want to see that.
That one of the reasons he won is something that came from his campaign, is that in the space of 5 weeks, people knocked on over 150,000 doors, made over 2 million phone calls, and wrote hundreds of thousands of postcards. Our campaign estimates that every Democrat household in the New York 3rd received, on average, 500 postcards.
Wow.
All right, so worry less, do more. Yes, my husband is the postcard writer at our house. I have terrible penmanship. And he doesn't really want to come to meetings, but he does write a lot of postcards. And he always tells me how much his hand is cramped for my postcard. But he said, give me more, I'm willing to do more.
Spread them out, that's what I learned.
Yeah. So,
One of the social work techniques is, best way to give up on tranquilizers, et cetera, is work harder. And, you know,
yeah.
keep yourself active.
Yeah. I also just want to say that I personally am really concerned about the issue of support for Ukraine. And I just think that this is something that is, I feel helpless. Like we have this, Republican House that is just refusing to do anything, but they're really playing literally Russian roulette with our national security. So I just would like to encourage everybody, I don't know what effect this could have, but let's, write email. Get on Nancy Pelosi's website, find out how to send her an email. Find out how to send Jeff Walberg. We know where he stands, but he needs to hear from us as Democrats. Otherwise, he thinks everybody in the district thinks this way. So, doesn't take, short email, get off your whatever and support for Ukraine. Get over it. We have wonderful Michigan representatives, Debbie Dingell, Dan Kildee. Write to these people, let them know that we're really concerned about this issue. What can they do in the House? Try to move this issue forward. Maybe, Mike Johnson may be an immovable rock, but we have to try.
He's a hard
He might not be there very long.
Yeah, well, that's true too. Yeah,
He's gonna come back and have one day to get the new budget passed.
yeah.
Took 2 week vacation when the budget's due March 1st.
We don't know what could happen, so we need to just get our voices out there. That's the thing that's important to me. We need to get our voices out there. Precinct delegates. Some of you have already set forward and said you would be precinct delegates, but I just want to mention that we especially need precinct delegates for Howard, Milton, Porter, Those are a big problem. And then also Penn, Newburgh, and Silver Creek. Now, if you have friends or acquaintances that live in any of those townships, please contact them if they're Democrats and ask them if they would consider serving as a precinct delegate. And what does a precinct delegate do? They're going to be on the August ballot. It's not a competition. The Republicans have their precinct delegates, we have ours, we vote for ours, they vote for theirs, so it's not a competition. But you are on the ballot, and what is your job? Your job is to help get out the vote. It's just that simple. However you can do that, write postcards, make phone calls, talk to your neighbors, put it on social media, whatever you as an individual can do to help get out the vote. Come volunteer in our office one day a week. We're gonna need more people over the summer. So, you know anybody, Milton, Howard, or Porter, call on them or give me their names and I'll call
You didn't mention Silver Creek this time.
them. No, I
My
didn't,
township.
I can reiterate it, but we do have a problem there too. But not as big as the other three that I just mentioned. I did also want to mention the Good Time petition. We had, someone from the community stop by several weeks ago and leave us a petition to sign. And I'm not sure that everybody is familiar with the Good Time, I don't want to call it a movement, group is trying to do. But there are many states that have this already, but what it does is it allows prisoners to accumulate good time. So there's a system set up. They have to earn the good time points, by good behavior, not getting into fights, et cetera, et cetera. And if they over time accumulate enough, then that comes off their prison sentence. Michigan has incarcerated way more people than many other states. We ought to be ashamed. Really. Not like that we have more crime than other states. So we have a justice system that has, given people really high sentences. And this is an opportunity for people that are in prison who are wanting to get out and will follow the rules to earn credit so that they can get out. So it's a citizen.
I know a lot of other states have that time for good behavior.
They
right?
do.
As long as you behave, they
Yeah.
count it off your, it might not be half, but it could be whatever, a few years off for good behavior.
Right.
Michigan doesn't have that now.
No, they don't. But you can look it up online, Good Time, why Good Time, what is Good Time in Michigan? And we do have, a petition is over on the table. It's a citizen initiated legislation, so, you can, if you're in favor of it, I encourage you to sign it, to help at least get this on the ballot, so that people of Michigan can vote on it. So, I wanted to mention that because I do think, I wanted to share this. My older son, many years ago, was in jail in, Muskegon, Michigan. He was actually arrested in, I believe, out in, either Oregon or Washington State. And to our great shock, he was extradited to Michigan. So I learned a little bit about this whole system. The trip here was a circuitous one on a bus through I don't know how many different states down south or whatever, before he finally arrived back in Michigan to be housed in the jail. He had committed some kind of, it was really fairly minor. I mean, he deserved to be there, not, but fairly minor credit card theft or fraud. Anyway, he was there, and when he was released, I was informed that he was going to be released, and that I could come and pick him up at midnight.
That's it.
So I drove to Muskegon, and let's just say the jail is not in the nice part of town. And found my way to the parking lot, and the back door was gonna be released. And when the prison, I'm totally naive. Prison guard came to jail, officer came to let him out. I said, why would we be, why are we letting people out at midnight? And why, nothing, they just shoot them out the door. That's it. If there's nobody there, they just shoot them out the door. This is not a good side of town. So, what's gonna happen to these people? They're gonna get hooked up with the wrong people right away. So I said, what is this all about? He said, we are here to punish, not to rehabilitate. I will never forget that. And I've read studies, articles about other countries with programs. Their intention is to rehabilitate people. Why do we just throw away people that are in jail and in prison? It's just wrong. Sorry, my personal story. So Sheldon was not there long. He's lived a totally upstanding life since then. Raised two beautiful girls. I'll never know how it happened. Met the right woman, I guess. He was okay enough. He still had many challenges in his life, but he stayed on the right side of it since then, pretty much, as far as I know. So, anyway, I just think that we need to give people an opportunity to show that they can change. So, all right, thank you for allowing me that personal bit there. I wanted to mention, in case you've not seen it, that the Cass County Board of Commissioners will hold a special meeting beginning 2 p.m. on February 21. No, that's not right. That would be tomorrow. Is the special meeting tomorrow?
I think it is.
Oh, it is tomorrow.
Mhm.
I had it in my head when I was thinking about it, because it was next week.
I'll go to the website and check.
They're holding a special meeting for the purpose of approving the creation of a law enforcement millage committee. I'm not for or against this, but I do think that we need to be, as citizens, we need to really be involved in this discussion about, should this have come about? Can we support our sheriff's department and our prosecutor's office through the regular Cass County budget? Is there enough, is there a reason that there's not enough money there? Do you know?
I've had some discussions with the commission, or individual members, and the indication is, well, some of it's political in that several of them ran on a platform of a balanced budget of not spending more money than run it like your household, run the government like your household, don't spend more than you have. And so, they're, yeah, they're. It is, in our notes, right? But, so some of them are reluctant to dip into the, reserve, the fund reserve was like 9 million before the budget was started.
And that's like a normal family budget.
Right. So
Reserve there.
yeah, so, and they wouldn't give us $250,000 of it to balance our budget. But in any case, this gives them political cover now to put this out here separately in a piece of separate out here and something that people, they think will broadly support. Law enforcement, they punish them. So they think people will broadly support that, and then they can raise for that. But really, they need a 0.25 millage according to this commissioner I spoke to be comfortable, period, but they don't have the political will or courage to go for that countywide millage to fund the government.
Well, they're sneaky. They don't want to be out in the open with anything to do. And it's.
Well, thank you for that little bit of information, which illustrates my point, is that we need to be asking some hard questions about this. If it's really necessary, then I would be behind it. But if it's not, if we get into that 9 million, little cushion they got over here, that's fine, I'm saying that's why we have it, to use for things. So why are we just sitting on it?
And Victor Fitz says that he's concerned because people want to defund the police.
Yes, I would. I also was happy to read that Victor's statement, the government is the government is to take care of people in an equitable fashion. And I thought, go Democrat Fitz.
Right, exactly.
He did it. He did it for. And I thought, I can't believe these words are coming out of his mouth. And these Republicans should say, we're never gonna raise taxes, never gonna raise taxes. Well, like you said, they think with law enforcement, they've got an issue that people will raise taxes on.
That meeting is tomorrow.
It is tomorrow, thank you. All right.
At
2
2 p.m.
p.m., of course, no working people can go, whatever. But I'm gonna try to be there. And I hope, short notice, but if any of you can be there, that's great. But if not, this is an issue we're forming a committee at this point. So,
Is it in the council chambers or?
yeah, it'll be in the council chambers or in that vicinity. Yeah. So, and this is just something I think we really need to inform ourselves about as it moves forward and speak up, as we become informed on the issue. All right. That's what good commissioners are up to these days. So the rest of my report is actually in the newsletter. All the updates of what we're doing there, so I won't label those points. Kathleen, did you have anything you wanted to share?
I was wondering if anyone would be interested in doing a group thing around the eclipse. I had a couple of messages come my way about the total eclipse, and I can't tell you right now when it is. Does anybody else?
Please.
I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything from the county as, I would think they'd take one of their parks and then open up.
Well, Dark Sky would be the place to
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
Dark Sky, Lawless Park would be the
Would be
one.
a perfect place for it.
Yeah, they may well have something planned. I think that would
I'll
be
go
a
over
good
there
thing.
and
Check.
dig into it. and
Yeah,
see.
check with the Parks and Recreation folks to see if they have something planned for Lawless Park.
It would be a nice together kind of meeting for those people who could go and it's supposed to be a great place.
We're not really in the path, are we?
I'm just saying, I thought.
We don't get.
We're not in total,
Total,
but we're pretty close.
we get a.
Indianapolis,
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis is dead center of total eclipse, and so a few degrees north and a few degrees south is within that band.
Chicago's in.
No, no,
No?
no,
I don't think so.
no, it goes,
Madison,
It goes
Ohio
diagonally.
Is another good place.
That's why.
it
I'll
goes.
be in Dallas for the, where it's
Indianapolis
be really good view.
Indianapolis Motor Speedway, selling tickets for $20. The beer there.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, anything else? No, okay. Jim, did you have anything?
Well, just again, the fun run, is a real thing, publicize that, we have people in and out of that, there's money in for that. Libby, part of Libby getting into the race was talking to other people that had expressed interest, and one of them that we want to encourage is, our friend from Three Rivers,
Aaron,
Aaron. Aaron, started and nurtured and had the first ever Three Rivers Pride event, which was a huge success. Hundreds and hundreds of people downtown in Three Rivers, and she took a look at running against Tim Wahlberg because of the incident that Libby so passionately describes, that Congressman Tim Wahlberg was in Africa while his Republican Party leadership was fighting over the speaker. All those votes that Kevin McCarthy went through, Tim was out of the country giving a speech saying that they should criminalize LGBTQ behavior. So, so he failed as a Republican, he failed as a congressperson, and he fails in my mind at humanity. So it's one of the things that Aaron got so passionate about. So if you know her, or if you can reach out, she would be a candidate now against Steve Carra, another perfectly deplorable human being.
Who's running against you, Karen?
Sorry, use the word perfect.
Aaron
Sure.
Choate, who's,
We get to vote for that person.
we get to vote for that, on that,
You have the
Are
on
you in
Eric
that?
Schultz.
I know, I
on
know.
that side of the town.
It's the other side of town, you know, the Washback isn't in that.
Well,
district, is
but
it?
No.
they are. The
Okay.
Washington,
Yeah.
goes this way, the rest of the county goes that
I
Yeah.
know, I know there's
You
like
got
a
Brad
little
Patel.
sliver that goes to the Bavarian for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they can vote for it.
I'm sorry, what's the name again? Because we have a meeting Thursday, and if it's official.
Erin, ERIN, and I think it is Schultz.
I know.
Schultz?
I know.
Is she on your radar too, or?
Yeah, I know her personally. I believe she ran for county
It's-
commission
Yeah.
or something.
SCHULTES.
2 years ago.
Yeah, she ran for county commission. She didn't get it, but she did a pretty good, you
She
know.
did a good job for it to be very rural and for us to not
Yeah.
have a chair 3 times in 1 year in St. Joseph.
I can get you her phone
Times.
number.
Yeah, she's now the chair of the St. Joe Dems.
No, Pat took over. She was the
Oh,
vice chair,
right.
but she took, she's just on the executive committee now, so.
We will definitely make sure that, we can even invite her over, to speak, especially, to the, well, not just Oswald, because the rest of the county, other than the Wajak. So we'll invite her to speak, and people can meet her.
We would love to invite you down there sometime too, and coordinate with this group.
Yeah,
But you might get some more people show, that wouldn't drive all the way up here,
right,
and we'd invite you guys down, so.
definitely.
It, would help to get the word out.
Right, absolutely.
Jim, do you have a printed flyer for the run?
Yes, I do.
Have any copies?
Excuse me, and you can also go online and download,
Being printed.
we have both a PDF and a JPEG. So if you want to share it on
Cause I'll
social media.
cover.
You know, get a hold of Ron, that's what
Yeah. And, Randy Wine, Buchanan, Randy Wine, all that area.
you know, we.
I'll get you copies. as soon as
He doesn't
I'll-
run
right,
anymore, but.
Yep, we should get on the events then too, for the party, piece.
Would you
Thanks.
promote that?
He probably promoted, get a hold of him, let him know. I
I
mean,
went to New Zealand.
did you go to New
Yeah,
Zealand? On a group, with a group?
Yeah,
Which trip did you go on?
it was the third.
Oh, I was in the second one. No, we know the second.
Oh, the other thing, you didn't mention it either. Maybe I should let it go, but I'm answering so many questions now.
Oh, no, that's just.
I've been getting phone calls about people that say, what's this about voting uncommitted?
Oh.
And here's my take on that, and coming from my last move from that corner of the world and close friend of Rashida Tlaib, I understand that, I really do, it's gut wrenching. But when I have conversations with folks that say, Israel's wrong, ceasefire now. I wonder where the conversation is about the brutality that was shown on that day in Israel, that the systematic use of rape as a weapon, the slaughter of innocent civilians can't go unchallenged, can't be undone. By the same token, I don't think I don't think the response is properly a 2,000-pound bomb on an apartment building. It's terrible. It's gut wrenching all the way around. But I believe more than anybody else running for president, that Joe Biden gets that. That they made it clear what Israel is doing in Gaza is untenable. They have to stop. They have to protect civilian lives. I think we haven't seen the massive invasion of the last enclave because of that. So it would be destructive to any peace effort to have Joe Biden end up like Nikki Haley in Nevada. Nikki Haley was outvoted by none of the above. And if the large number of dedicated Democrats in Southeast Michigan say uncommitted, and Joe Biden loses Michigan to uncommitted, that doesn't serve peace either. And it's awfully hard. I got one of my brothers, my dear brother Jack, who's on social media, on my feed, doing everything he can to encourage people to vote uncommitted. And I'm just as passionately saying, no, that doesn't help. I just don't believe that helps. And I remember 2008 when it was Hillary Clinton or uncommitted. And the uncommitted caucuses were controlled and taken by the Barack Obama campaign. They said, we're the uncommitted. The uncommitted delegates are going to go for Barack Obama. And I get that, okay? So Barack Obama got the uncommitted vote, and uncommitted delegates went to the convention to vote for Barack Obama, and eventually he was the nominee after all. But it's hard. These are awful conversations to have. But please acknowledge that Joe Biden is the leader of our party, that there's a better prospect for peace if Joe Biden is reelected president. And I just don't see any good coming out of an uncommitted one. It's barely better than voting for Trump, but I want to be able to enjoy my brother's company too.
I know on the last CD5 meeting, not a candidate, but a committee meeting, they were also asking, don't cross parties.
Oh, no.
Vote either, because
No.
that completely screws up the band data.
Yeah.
Well.
So even if you don't want to vote for the Democrat, primary, don't cross over and pull the Republican ticket and vote on that one, because that really messes up the whole thing.
Right, because your voting pattern is
It's,
when you go in there, I hope everybody knows, when you go in, you ask for a Republican or Democrat ballot. And if you've already voted, you know that. You want to vote here or here. And so if there's this massive wave of Democrats going in and asking for a Republican ballot, that's going to screw up our data.
Well, yeah,
The
and
data we
somebody
use.
talked about this, and that's what she wanted to do, because Nikki Haley is the one person that can stop Trump. So she's so desperate to get Trump stopped that she says, vote for Nikki Haley so she gets more votes, and that's one of the ways you can stop Trump. Well, I think that's very risky, very risky.
You might remind her that Nikki Haley's out polling in a head-to-head contest. Nikki Haley beats Biden by more than Trump does. Sorry,
Yeah.
does not
And
help.
then, and then bad data, which is something I didn't even think about, or I would
Yeah.
have mentioned that to her, but yeah, it really is
it
true.
screws up the band.
I saw Nikki Haley for president sign in Niles.
Really?
Andy?
Well, good for them.
No, it was across the river, and across the rivers, really Republican, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've kind of moved into old business already, to talk about the run, which is good. Just a reminder that, we do have sponsorships, as Jim mentioned. $100, you can get in for $100, as a sponsor, or $250. $250 gets you your name on the shirt plus 4 race entries, free. And, plus signage at the race, we'll have a signboard recognizing all of our sponsors. So we do need to have sponsors in by, if you're gonna sponsor, you need to have them in by March 15th. If any of you know businesses that you think would be interested in sponsoring, go ask them. You never know. So we encourage you to do that. If you want more information, get hold of me or Mary.
What was the date again, March 19th?
March 15th. If you're after March 15th, you can still sponsor, but your name will not be on the shirt. Because we have to have, the number of shirts that we need and get that off to the place that's gonna print our shirts. So you can still sponsor the race up until, but, and your name will be on the signboard at the race, but we can't guarantee that your name will be on that shirt. So the earlier you get it in, your sponsorship in, the better. Flyers are ready, they're being printed now at the third printing here in town. So as soon as we have them, we need people to help distribute them. So Dean, you have said places, yes, and I will get you some. For sure.
The run of number 27.
Yeah. The flyer is also, you can also download it online, to go to our website, there's a list, there's one of the tabs across the top says Run Like a Blue Streak. And you open that link up and you'll get, if you can donate there, to support the race. You can register there. Well, you can download the flyer and fill it out and register that way. You can't actually register online. You can pay by Cash App, or you can write a check, or you can, what's the third option? What's the third option, Gary? I'm drawing a blank. It seems to me there was one other way that you could actually, pay for your registration. It's all on the
PayPal,
website
Cash
and
App.
on the flyer. There's 3 ways to pay.
PayPal, Cash App, or.
No, not
check.
PayPal. Cash App,
Cash App, check to us.
Cash App check. I think that's it. Yeah. It's Cash App or check. So, anyway, get the flyer. All the information is on the flyer. Promote this with everybody. It's a fun run, walk, so people, of all ages can come out and enjoy the park, enjoy a walk through the woods. And, I think it's gonna be a fun day. All the money raised will go to our administrative account to help us through the election year with our, regular bill. So, our goal is 100 runners or participants. Wow. So, but we'd love to exceed that, but that's kind of our baseline goal.
Pray for good weather.
Yes, we will pray for good weather, although, dedicated runners run regardless.
That's right.
That's
Saturday,
right.
May 11th.
One other thing that when you brought up and these activities going on, the 11th of which
Saturday, May 11 is the district caucus to elect the actual delegates to the convention.
right, the Democratic convention is in Chicago this year.
Oh.
And any of you who are interested in attending, anybody can go to the convention. You may not serve as a delegate. I mean, you might, I don't think, but anybody
If
can
you get
go to the
elected.
convention. And so if you're interested in that, it may even be that we could have a couple of cars that wanted to go down.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah, sure.
And we're endorsing Blue Dye.
We are. Oh, yes. So we are looking for, but we'll go back to the race for just a minute. We are looking for someone to staff our first aid station. So we need would prefer either an EMT or a nurse. So if any of you have any suggestions as to somebody that might be able to serve in that role, free. We're doing broadest fee. Let us know and we'll contact that person and ask if they would maybe be willing to help us out that way. So we are gonna need a lot of help. There's a, the day of the race, we need people to help set up. We'll need a, food cleanup. We're asking, people, and I haven't heard back yet from Marlene, but, I asked Marlene if she would coordinate getting all of our great bakers in Cass County Democratic Party to make either cookies or bars. And we'll bring them out to the race, have them on the table, and collect donations if you want, if you want a cookie, great, it's free. But if you'd like to give us a donation, that would be great. And that way, we have, something extra for people to eat after the race, and people that are not, are there, but they're not actually running the race. We'll have the goodies, but we haven't paid, we haven't had to put out any money at the party for that. If Marlene agrees to coordinate this for us, we'll be here.
We're gonna need lots and lots and lots of water.
Yes, yes. So anyway, you'll be getting more specifics about how you can help to support the race. Donate if you're at the store and there's a bargain on, small bottles of water, or even just a regular bottle of water, pick up an extra 6-pack or 8-pack or whatever for us and bring it here to the office. We'll stash it here until the day of the race. That can help us to have, cut down on expenses. I did want to say a little bit about candidate recruitment. We do have 2 commissioner candidates, and we have at least one other person considering it. I hope this person is going to say yes. But Jim Weirman, a retired physician, is going to run from it would be
C5.
C5.
Jefferson LaGrange.
Yeah, so Jefferson and LaGrange, and then Lois Cole, who lives out on Mackenzie Street, going to run for District 2, so that it can keep that sliver of Wayne Township and all of the city of the Wabash. They, next week, next month, March, any candidates that we have, we're invite them to come, participate in our meeting, and, be introduced to our group. And we shouldn't ignore our incumbents, which we have done in the past. This year, Della, we are not ignoring our incumbents, who's you are. We recognize you just as much as somebody who's stepping up the first time to run. So, we'll be talking with our incumbents about what can we do to support you.
We did see exactly when we have had a opinion piece in the Wabash Bay News this week.
Oh, it is? Yeah,
I'll help.
I have a copy right here, and you can expect to hear more from him. He has already told me that he has several other pieces that he has in mind. His quality of healthcare available, that the county health department and how that's,
Medical transport.
how that's supported. I mean, there's so many issues with the health. And he, as a retired physician there, he's really concerned about this. And that's one of his motivations for running the county commission. So we'll probably hear a lot from him on that, on those issues. And this piece is another view about marijuana use. He reads a lot of the paper about from people that don't have any medical degree, making statements about the benefits of marijuana. I voted for the legalization of marijuana, but that doesn't mean that I think, marijuana is the cure for everything, or that there aren't dangers to the use of marijuana, just like there's dangers to alcohol use. So, this is his take on, he has some pretty strong opinions about, people being well informed, about what the medical view is on the use of marijuana. But we're excited that, he's well known in the community. His patients loved him. So I hope he has a basic support that will help him to get elected. So. Okay, we are getting down to, really new business, which really the only new business I wanted to mention is we have a lot of summer events. Just as we did last year, so this includes, you know, festivals here in the Wajak Festival, events in Persepolis, events in Marcellus, events in Edwardsburg. We have events in all of these communities. We have a box over there that I created because that we learned from experience last year, what kinds of things we need to have when we go and just set up a table, like the Bluebell Frolic. So we're gonna have one box ready to go and then our campaign material. That's it. Our job when we go to any of these festivals or events is to get out the word about Libby, get out the word about Aaron Schultz, get out the word about all of our local candidates. That's our job, every single event. So we don't need to plan anything else. We can take our box and you know,
Away we go.
our ammunition and away we go. But there is a lot on the table. So I just want to say thank you for all that you've been doing and worry less and do more because it's going to be a busy summer.
And remember, the subject is the subject.
I mean, focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. So is there anything that, anybody wants to bring up for good and welfare of our group? Yes, Julie.
Just to mention, Oil and Water Don't Mix is organizing a bus out of Westland, Michigan, to go down to the U.S. Court of Appeals in Cincinnati. Dana Nessa was asked that we rally on the courthouse steps, and I should all use our keys. And then other carpool is going on, trying to be arranging different events and such. It's March 21st.
No, I'm really glad you brought that up. Lois brought that to my attention too. That's something really important. And I think there was an option if you can't go, if you could support somebody that can go with a little bit of money. The website she sent me was kind of making that option available. Support somebody who can go if you can't go yourself. But the line 5, oil that runs through line 5 is particularly dirty oil. Isn't that correct?
Is that the same, tar same?
That's, yeah.
Yeah. It's, and, you know, studies have shown that we don't need this oil. We can get by without the oil that goes through the pipeline. So it's not like it's economically necessary to keep this line in operation.
It costs a lot of money when it breaks.
It's gonna be an environmental disaster. Yeah.
I'm a member of Sierra Club and other environmental organizations. One piece of information I want to make sure that I understand is, I think I want to share is that the current pipeline is very dangerous. If something does happen because it's just sitting there on the lake bed, disaster, environmental disaster. The proposal that's on the table is not building a new tunnel under the lake bed that will be protected. And this new tunnel would not only carry the oil pipeline, but other infrastructure.
Right.
Like electricity, like internet, to the UP. So that's another, so personally, I'm looking at it as a safety improvement that may mitigate, I'm scared of having that kind of oil dumping. The straits are backing up. So I'm looking at it personally as a safety improvement, if they were to do the new replacement mine.
Wouldn't the best thing be to just shut the line down?
But still doesn't solve the problem, the infrastructure problems for, you know.
Well, no, you're right. That doesn't solve those issues. But could they be solved without putting an oil line through?
If they took it up
Pardon?
if they took it up and it didn't exist anymore, that'd be one thing, but even if they do shut it down, there's still residues in it that would still risk getting out into the wild, into the environment.
Yeah. But, you know, it's always good to know all of the different aspects of an issue. So, yeah. It's important to have that information. But anyway, those of you that might be interested in the ride down to Cincinnati. Could be kind of fun.
Early in the morning, though,
Is it early in the morning?
7 to 9.
So we go the night before. Right.
Yeah. So, all right, is there anything else for good and welfare?
I've got one, and
Yes.
this has to do with all of us and who we talk to. I ran for state rep in 2016, 2018, lost to Cat and to Big King. And I don't remember where I was at when I talked about this, but I told them I went to Trump houses. If they had a sign up to Trump, I went and knocked on their door. And this person saw me, because I'm in a couple other groups, and they said, I remember when you talked about that. And that it was nice of you to do that because you knew you probably were going to get shut down talking to them. But that you made the effort to go and speak to them. And the one that I spoke about was in Three Oaks. If you go there now, they still have Trump stuff up. It's a big barn, it's just north of town. That was when I had to get some courage up. It's like, these people are gonna go crazy. They were really nice. They had issues about, the internet. And, there were two young ladies that were on the front porch and they were talking about she had childcare issues. So that's not politics. That's issues that need to get solved. So the internet, taking care of her son, she had some comments about the school. She was mad at the school. I probably talked to them for 45 minutes. And so, they thanked me for stopping and said, you're afraid to do that. But the part was that this person remembered that I said that I went and talked to them. And so I thought that was really important. So whatever we say, sometimes you don't think it's sticking on anybody, but it does.
Yeah, and whenever we have an event here, the office, Dina's the one that's out on the sidewalk, bringing people in, talking to people.
I had a job as a circus guy, getting people to come in. So, yeah.
No, if you were to run again, I would be out there working so hard for your election, honestly. But we can use your skills this election year, because there are people like me that are really good at knocking on doors and talking to people regardless. And sometimes that's what we need to do. So, people that have that skill set, we really need to take advantage of that. And as much as you can, we're hoping to have you out doing some door
Oh,
knocking.
yeah, I enjoy doing that.
Great.
I want to do events and things.
You'll have to rev up the troops.
On the other
They're
side,
hibernating somewhere in Howard Township.
on the other side, be careful when a dog is let out of the house to chase them.
Yeah, Julie knows about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Julie moved. There's a sign out in Niles Township, way out in the hinterland somewhere, trespassers will be shot, survivors will be shot again.
Yeah.
So and that was a house that was on the list.
Motion to adjourn, we can keep
Yeah.
chatting again.
Yeah,
Oh.
thank you, Jim, always keeps me in line, yes.
Just really quick, it's Tuesday now, we're in the final push.
Yeah.
For the miller's election. I have some brochures here that
Oh, yeah.
Good.
I'd like to leave, I've got 90 of them, but if any of them, anybody would like any of them, I'd like to leave some documents. I'm glad to do that.
We have some here, but if
Some
people
here.
would take them and distribute them, that would be the best thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, thank you, Gary, and so we have a motion to adjourn.